And you're working now with Jens Borgen. So how did that start? And how did you meet him? And how does he help to contribute to your music?
Well, we liked the sound on things he had produced in the past. So we contacted him when we needed to mix Enigma because we liked his sound. So that's basically it. We knew we could get good sound with him, and so we used him for the 2 last albums because he can twist the knobs better than and we can do. So we need somebody to do that for us. So there's no like special relationship or something like that. Just like we liked his work, and then we wanted him to do the mix for the albums.
Interesting. So it adds like the quality of In Vain. So when we talk about album, so I looked at it. Started with Mantra or Late Rain. It was Mantra.
Late Rain was the first one.
Yeah, and well, there. How do you say it? Like was mentioned by you and Johnar, that every album is a bit different. It uses other pools and so on. So in Mantra you hear black, and in the other one something else. So can you tell a little bit about the styles concept of the albums and how the decisions were made with regard to style and the artwork? So a bit of background of every album, like the musical journey.
Go grab a new beer. I'll be right back.
Difficult question. Sindre run away.
You said you wanted us to describe the style.
A little bit like the musical journey, how you came up with Mantra, why it went from black, and then Currents is something else. If you look at it, the black elements went away. So I thought a little bit a nice background how musical journey from 2003 until now like developed.
Well, I would say the first EP was you want to start with the first album maybe. That we were quite. I would say that was. We have discovered, or I tried to merge. We tried to merge like death and black metal with some progressive elements and also some other kind of hard music elements, not necessarily black or death. And then on Mantra, I remember that I started to listen to doom metal and also to bands like Neurosis and this kind of I don't know what you call their style, if it's called sludge or what they call it, but this kind of heavy, intense down. Well, for instance, ISIS is a different kind of band in its style. I started to listen to those kind of bands before we wrote Mantra, and I think that resulted in Mantra being a little bit more down tempo. We have some slow songs there. There's a song called On the Banks of the Mississippi, which is very slow. We have never done slow songs like that before. So I found that to be an interesting challenge to write slow songs. So that happened on Mantra and some of those, some of the songs. And then on Enigma, actually I wanted to go a little bit more back to, or we wanted to go back to the roots and have some more fast music again. And I think that we had a really good mix on Enigma of fast and slow songs. It's I think that album, I see a lot of people who has that album as their favorite. I'm not really sure what we did different. I would say it's the best. For the first time, we had a much better production. That's the first time Jens Borgen produced our album, and that was a big step up from the previous albums. Well, Sorry?
Yeah, from my experience, if you look at Mantra and Enigma, to be honest, like a Mantra is more black, it's more heavier. But the second thing is also that Enigma would be more melodic, progressive. So the style is different. So I think that's for me the reason I love Enigma, and for Mantra, it's a little bit for me too heavy to put it there.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it's kind of hard if I'm gonna try to analyze this, but we had a lot of singing on maybe. Well, I think we had a lot of we had quite a lot of singing on Mantra, but on Enigma we had even more. And I'm talking about the clean vocals. I think we had more clean vocals. We had a better production. We had a bit more up-tempo songs than Mantra, which we had as I said, quite a few slower songs. And we had, yeah, maybe Sindre, do you have anything to add? And maybe, how do you see the difference?
Well, I don't know. I agree with you. You know, the how the progression has been, and of course it was a big step up with the production on Enigma, and yeah, I think maybe that was where we like found we found a good mix of the different genres, and yeah, we as Jonas said, we used more clean vocals, but yeah, all kinds of different vocals, and not really sure. As Jonas says, I see a lot of people have that album as their favorite. I think we did a lot of the same things, but this mix on the Currents as well. And in my opinion, Currents is even more tweaked, but maybe like some of the surprise elements are more present in Enigma. I don't know, but yeah, I think other people will have to tell us why they like that album so much, or even what they like with the different albums. But I think also like Enigma was a big step up for us when it comes to listeners and people that heard our music. And in my opinion, it's often the first album you hear, like the first album you fall in love with a band, is the album that sticks with you often. So I think maybe a lot of people discovered us with Enigma, and then that's their album. And the people that discovered us with The Latter Rain, they have The Latter Rain as their favorite album. So yeah, I don't have any good answers, but I think like it's for us, it's been like a natural like development, and then yeah, I think we just need to hear what people that like the albums, what they have to say about it, basically.
I think that's a very good point, actually, and I think a lot of people might forget about that. It's usually what Sindre says: the first time you listen to a band, you don't have anything, you have not heard a band before, so you don't have any expectations. If you know the band from before, you have some expectations of what they're going to release next time. So you have no expectations, you have no kind of hopes or whatever, and you're just going to be taken by surprise. And that effect is of course strong when you don't know the band, but when you know the band, you kind of know what to expect, and maybe you hope that they would do more of that, what you like. It's going to influence your view of the band more. But maybe on Enigma, I came up, or I remember now that on Enigma, it was the first time we did a pre-production. So we actually recorded all the songs, and we made demo versions of the songs, and we changed a lot of stuff, and we mixed, we as I said previously, we split one song in half and made 2 new songs. We made a lot of changes on our 2 first albums. Or at The Latter Rain, we didn't have any demos. I had just some kind of computer demo versions in media of the songs. It was a complete, we had to kind of calculate how much space we needed for the lyrics on the different riffs. You know, we had never heard the songs before we went into the studio. We hadn't practiced them either. So I think that we were able to do a pre-production before Enigma managed to make needed for the lyrics on the different. Yeah, it helped us to really kind of perfectionize this mix of the Black and Death and all the progressive styles to really make this mix seamless.
That's a very good point you're making from expectation. I think if you take into consideration, I think that's the reason I love Enigma and Current. But like for me, like Mantra, well, for you it's a step forward. But if you discovered first and you started with the vein with Enigma, then of course Mantra is a step backwards. So yeah, I think in that way it makes also sense. I think that's the reason like Enigma is the most loved album, or maybe Currents, who knows. So what I was wondering, there was one interesting song in particular in Mantra, Viikan. Well, for me it was like a little bit folk there, a little bit Native American tribe. It was quite interesting. So I was wondering, how did you come up with this?
Yeah. Do you want to answer this, Sindre, or?
I think this is your question, Johnar, because that was your creative idea.
Well, if you know our first album, The Letter Rain, we had a song called, there's a song called Their Spirit Ride with the Wind. I think it's the fourth or fifth song. And that's that has a lyrical theme about the Native Americans. I've read a lot of books about those, and I've always been fascinated about their history and their struggle against the white conquerors. And their culture as well, you know, how they live their lives in harmony with nature, etc. So I wrote those lyrics after I saw a documentary about one Native American tribe on TV. And then, so that song has some Native American elements. You can hear some chanting and some similar elements in that song. And on the song you mentioned, we tried to take this idea one step further. So we brought a Native American into the studio, and he brought with him a lot of Native American instruments, and he was doing chanting and all kinds of songs and spiritual chanting. And he was playing flutes and percussion, and everything you hear on that song is played. Some people have asked me if there are some samples there, but everything is played by this guy. So we kind of took this Native American song idea to the extreme with that song. So it's a kind of, as you say, that's an outlier song on that album. It's completely different from all the other songs. And in hindsight, it might have been better to use it as a bonus track because it's so special. It's so different from the rest of the music.
Yeah,
it seems to me that it's
interesting.
Yeah, it seems to me that it's either people love it or they really, really hate it. So
my question is, where did you find Native American in Norway?
Well, I mean, Native American, yeah, we have Native Norwegians far up in the north, the Sami people, but the Native Americans, I'm talking about, you know, the Native Americans of the United States. But we have some also in Norway, but those are not, our songs are not about them.
I think her question was where we found this Native American that we used for the...
Yeah, well, actually, I was Googling and I came up with, there was some Norwegian organization, friendship with the Native Americans or something. I didn't think I would find anything, but I found that organization, and through them, I think I asked them, is there anyone who's playing these instruments, or can we borrow those instruments? And from what I remember, they sent us some instruments by mail. They let us borrow them for free. And we got in touch with this guy. We brought him to Kristiansand, and he slept at Andreas, the other singer's place. He came with us to the studio, and he was very enthusiastic. He wasn't a metal guy at all, but he understood our vision. So we spent a day together with him, and it was really interesting.
Awesome.
But he's living in Norway. He was living in Norway, living as a musician on the west coast of Norway. I think he had a Norwegian girlfriend or something. But he was a Native American and an American citizen.
Bill Silverbird was his name. Yeah, I'll be right back.
No bother.
No bother. Quite interesting. So I'm curious who you're going to bring next album to the studio.
Well, we have no plans yet. I think that we have had so many guests now, and I really liked to do it on our first albums. I thought it was a lot of, well, we will probably have some session musicians, maybe playing some strings or brass, but I'm not sure if we're going to have so many guests. I mean, as I said, in the past, I thought it was really great, especially when, for instance, as I mentioned, I've been a big fan of In the Woods, and the singer joined us on 2 of our first albums, and he did vocals, and I was kind of stoked that he was participating, because I know that he usually turns down all those requests. But the people I wanted to work with, I've already worked with on some of our albums. I don't really have a lot of lists. I don't really have any list with people I would like to work with. Now we'll see how the songs develop. Maybe we will see that, okay, maybe we should bring someone in here to do something. But we don't have any plan about that yet. And to be honest, we have a big range of vocal capabilities in the band. Have a lot of different vocal styles that we master, and it's not necessarily needed to bring in guests.
Yeah, exactly. I meant also like maybe some other tribe, I don't know, some other folk thing.
I think we're kind of done with that Native American theme. We did 2 songs on that. We kind of maximized it on the Via Kim song, so that's kind of history for us.
All right, so back to really In Vain, Currents. So that's the last and recent album that we haven't discussed yet. So anything to add to this album, how it came?
How it came, yeah. Sindre, you want to answer, or?
I can start. Well, we did this for the second time, as Jonas talked about. We did the pre-production for Enigma, and we did it the same way with Currents, and we didn't have like a vision to go this way or this way. Just pick the songs that worked the best, and then and then try to make them as good as we could. And I was really happy with the result. I'm really proud of that album. So I don't know what to say about it. It felt like the natural progression for In Vain, and didn't have like a vision to go this. Yeah, now I get myself in echo. So yeah, it's the natural progression from Enigma, I think, and we did the same kind of pre-production, and we used the same guy to do the mix. So in that aspect, they might be similar. And I think maybe, I don't know really what more to say about it. It's an album I'm really proud of.
How did you come up with Matthew Heafy from Trivium to collaborate with?
Yeah, Jonah could answer that.
Well,
I'll be right back.
We have this Sindre is going to the toilet all the time here.
We need to ask him when he's back.
I'm gonna ask him if he has a bad stomach. But we have a Twitter account that we never use, but one time every second month, I think I pop in there, and then I saw there was like 100 notifications, or a lot of them, and then I saw that Matthew Heafy had posted about us on his Twitter account, and I think I replied to him or something, and at least I got in touch with him. I don't really remember how, but I talk with him from time to time on WhatsApp, and I just asked him if he wanted to participate on a song on the coming album, and he was very positive and enthusiastic, and he's a really, really nice guy, and he recorded everything, I mean, everything for free. Recorded it himself. He even recorded videos. He recorded himself singing, so we could use it in our music video.
Wow.
So he just got in. Yeah, it was from that Twitter post, and I've been in touch with him since. And we met him when he's been playing when he played in Trivium in Oslo. And
Cool.
so that's the story behind it.
Oh, certainly, like, interesting.
And recently you started working with Costin, I cannot say this name, Chioreanu.
Chioreanu.
Chioreanu. I pronounced it very wrong. And how did that collaboration happen, and what did that brought in?
Yeah, well, Sindre, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, all right, yeah. So, we had seen some of his work and really liked it. And me and Johnar, we had sort of an idea what we wanted for the cover. So we spoke to him about it and just told him that what like our vision was for the cover. And he did a sketch that we liked. And then he did a final version, and we tweaked it a bit, and then we ended up with the cover, which I think fits the album very well. So it was just we liked his work, and we contacted him. So
I never seen. He's a really quality deliverer. I never seen him. All the work I have seen he's done has been very good.
Yeah.
Are you working with him for the next album?
Hasn't been decided yet, so
we are far away from those kind of decisions. That's the cover. We're gonna be happy when we are at that stage, because that means that the album has been recorded. So we'll see about that.
But I would say keep the guy. He makes amazing art. Like the currents, it's nice. It fits the current storms. And I read that the concept of the album was the storms, or how do you say, the shifts we live on and so on. And then you see the artwork, and it nicely fits together what you want to display. So I think it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I really like the cover. I think it turned out really nice. It ended up the way, at least I imagined it, how it should be. So yeah.
All right. So let's travel now to Mantra. In Mantra, I saw a trumpet, which it's weird for us to see a trumpet in extreme metal. So can you tell us a bit about other instruments that you have used that are normally not used into extreme metal?
We have used on the first album. We used a lap steel guitar, and or pedal steel. We have also used. It's mainly used in country music. We have flute, but flute is not. Of course, other metal bands has used it, but it's not super common. We also had that on our first album. On our first album, we had we were 20 musicians in total contributing to that album. other strange examples. You know, we have other brass instruments, but I don't think, in my opinion, they are not that seldom. Do you have any examples, Sindre?
No, but I guess like the main thing is that we usually we want to that as much as possible should be played by the actual instruments and not like a keyboard trying to play a trumpet sound, something like that. So when we can, we get people that can play the instrument to do that instead of using samples or using keys. So I think that's like the original idea behind it, and then then you just use the instruments that seems fitting, that might elevate the song, I guess. So there's never been like a pursuit of getting new instruments or doing something that is different just for being different. We just use whatever we think fits the song the best, I guess.
So it's like an authentic feeling sound that it's like produced by the instrument itself, and not like digitally constructed.
Yeah.
Cool.
And would we expect, or should we expect any interesting additions to the fourth album, or you haven't planned those things yet?
Haven't been planned. We'll see. We'll see how the songs. Now we're in the middle of pre-production and doing making demo versions of the songs, and then we'll see if they need something different.
For now, enjoy current.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
Yeah, I certainly do as well. So now about the focus. So I read, I was doing some research for the interview, and I looked at the website, and I saw Andreas that he's doing the focus as well. But if I remember the Netherlands, I didn't see him around during the Orphaned Land tour, the Netherlands. So I'm curious, he's the vocalist, but how is it split between you two?
No, yeah, he's doing the black vocals, like the high pitched screaming, and I do the growls and the clean vocals. Is usually the split. When it comes to that tour, he couldn't join us because of kids and stuff. So I did all the vocals there, or I did his parts, and then of course both the other guitarist and the bass player and also Johnar joins in live. So we got a lot of different people that actually can do vocals live in the band, which is very good, I think. So yeah, the split is basically he does black vocals and I do other types of vocals, and then we do it like that live as well. But when he's not been able to join, then I've just done everything.
And how often do you practice, and do you have any teacher for vocals?
I've taken some lessons, like occasionally, but I practice. I got some different things I try to do now, but that's mainly the last year. The last year I've done that. I got some technique training because my technique was all fucked up because I just learned to sing by myself, never had a teacher. So I do some exercises, but then basically I just sing a lot. I like to sing, and then I got 2 kids, so I sing for them all the time. So that's basically like nursery rhymes and stuff like that. That's my vocal practice.
Any metal nursery rhymes or lullabies?
When I get tired of the regular nursery rhymes, I do something with clean vocals though. But I do sing a lot of like Opeth and some other some Megadeth and some different clean vocal songs. Just turn them into lullabies, I guess.
Cool.
Must be an issue if you have a cult and the kids are screaming that they want the song.
Yeah.
Idea for a side project. Lullaby
Exactly.
album.
No, actually, on my Instagram, I had to put out a video because I'm doing the pre-production, but I got a kid. My youngest is 4 months old, so I got a video of me recording for the new album with him on my lap and the other one interrupting. So yeah,
Aw,
it can be a hassle sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go back to In Vain.
Yeah, I saw it.
Sorry, so I was going to ask, what is the shortest and the longest song that you ever done?
That depends what you count as songs, though, because like some intro, like an intro to a song, that's a different track, might be the shortest. But yeah, I don't know if you know this, Jonar. I can't remember. Like
I don't know it. I just have to guess.
I'm thinking "No More Lovin'" or might be the shortest, maybe from Mantra. But that's basically an intro to a song. So
Basically what I saw, maybe I should elaborate this. Yeah, I think it was an intro song, but you know, you normally don't see 1 minute on a song when you have the CD. And I saw 1 minute and was like, what? 1 minute? 1 minute song? But yeah, it must be an intro song, like you stated, because it's like a piece together. And then there were songs that I saw 10 minutes, 11 minutes, something like that.
You say we have a song that's 11 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you know, an important point is fade outs. If you have a long fade out, that could probably add almost a minute. But it's interesting. I hope that you maybe had the answer. What's the shortest and the longest? Because I don't know, but I would guess that the shortest would have to be on one of the last two albums, because I had a deliberate intention to try to write shorter songs, because all our songs had been at least 6 minutes, and I thought, okay, why not try to write some shorter ones? I would think that on maybe on Currents you will find the shortest In Vain song, but I'm not sure which one it could be. But
let's study this after the interview. Have research, because
maybe in the Midnight Hour is the longest. I don't know. That's over 10 minutes at least, I think.
I just hope. Well, I took the intro song as a song, so yeah, that's out of question. But yeah, I hope that you can answer this, so that I know what your shortest and longest song is. But I think we all need to get like someday and just search all songs and look how minutes, which one is short, which one is, and make it like graph, and then we find the song.
Yeah. Or if someone watching knows, then put it in the chat.
Please.
Yeah. Longest and shortest song, please. Yeah. So now back to now about another album, The Letter, right?
Well, I if you want, I was so curious about your question. I had to check it. I have the answer now to the longest and shortest. Actually, the longest is a mantra. Somber Fall, Blood and Winter. I wanted to be my pick, but the shortest one was from Enigma, the Hymn to the Sea, Hymn to Havet, the Norwegian song.
Cool.
There you go.
That's sorry, and then you asked what about
yeah, we traveled to the Letter, right? So it had 20 guest musicians. So how did you pull that off?
Well, we just invited the musicians to the studio, and we handed them notes on what to play. Well, they were hired musicians, so they were not all there in the studio together, so it wasn't that complicated. That's just, we just contacted good musicians in our hometown. Our hometown has a musical conservatory, which educates many musicians every year. So we had a good selection of great musicians available.
You have a really amazing researchers. I don't know any band that could, I think, pull 20 musicians up for one album.
No,
Well, when I said with 20 musicians, that included also the band. So it wasn't 20 session musicians. I think it was 20, but including the 6 members of the band at that time.
But still 14, we don't see that. Veronica, you somewhere?
Never.
At that time we did everything. A lot of bands now are using samples if they don't have a big budget, or they use maybe a whole orchestra, which a band maybe like Jens Borgen would use. We were not able to record an orchestra. We had to bring in one musician at a time, and back then samples weren't good enough. So that's why we needed to bring all these musicians, because we wanted to have a real authentic strings and brass and everything. We had big ideas back then. Now on our latest albums we haven't had that many guests, but I guess there will always be some.
Do you plan for any new guests for the 4th album? I'm still trying to find out.
I don't think you are getting here something.
No.
Oh, we don't know yet. We'll just have to see how the song turns out.
So yeah, and then about something else a bit. You have all families, and you have also different jobs. So you're not only independent, but you have a professional work. So how do you manage to rehearse together and be on tour?
We don't rehearse that much at all, actually, to be honest. We rehearse on our own, and then if we're doing a tour or we're doing a gig, we meet up and we do like a couple of really intense, long rehearsal sessions, and that's it. So yeah, we don't actually have like a rehearsal room. We just rent the room when we need it, and then yeah, we just depended that everyone does their work at home before we meet up, and then we put in those marathon rehearsals right before we're going on tour or before we're going to play a show. So that's basically how it works.
Interesting, and well, it's also an interesting approach, because a lot of bands rehearse together, but like with you do everything apart and it fits nicely together, so there's no loss of quality.
That's good to hear.
And what was your longest tour?
Oh, I don't know. We never, because of our situation with kids and work and stuff, we never do like really long tours. So there have always been like 2, maybe 3 weeks, nothing more than that. So that's
okay.
Because of the situation. That's how much we can manage to take off work or be apart from the kids or stuff like that. Yeah.
So basically taking like holidays off work and touring that.
Yeah.
Okay. And how was the crowd in Norway compared to the other countries that you visited so far?
They're a bit spoiled when it comes to metal music. So yeah, it's harder to get the crowd going here than when we're playing abroad. I guess it's my general impression of that. With, of course, there are exceptions, and we've done gigs here in Norway as well. That's been really fun. But on in general, I think they are used to bigger bands and a lot of bands playing a lot, like in their town. So I think, yeah, in general, the responses, or like what should I say, like the enthusiasm is greater when we're playing abroad. With exceptions, of course. We've played some shows in Norway as well. That's been really, really great.
I think so. As we are talking about tours, so how did you end up with Orphaned Land and Our Friends Aevum, and how was the tour for you?
It was a good tour. I think it was how this works is, when you release an album, you need a tour, and then where that like the size of our band is so that to do our like proper European tour, we need a headliner above us, or we have to do pretty small shows, I think. So you need to find a tour with a band that fits like okay, that when people go to see the headliner, they also want to see your band, or they maybe if they don't know your music but they see you for the first time, if they're there for the headliner, they can enjoy your music as well. And it has to fit with like timing both with. So you get like offers to go on different tours, and you just have to pick one that fits like the criteria,
I think
length and with timing and everything. So yeah, kind of random, I would say, but yeah. I don't know if you got something to add, Johnar.
Yeah, well, we just got an offer to tour with them, basically.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. But we didn't know them from before. I mean, I got an offer, you want to be special guests on their tour, and it took time to consider it, and we thought, okay, why not? Yeah, we are not a full-time band, so we would, of course, we would like to build a band bigger, but it's very different when you're a full-time band and touring all the time, compared to being like being a band with, you know, on a more like a hobby basis with full-time jobs. But we will do more tours, and probably yeah, we don't mind supporting a good band, or maybe, and probably sometime in the future we could headline ourselves.
Yeah, that would be nice, like a headliner. That would
Especially if you can come to Ireland.
Yeah,
that would be fun. We've never been there, so that would be fun.
It's not very. I don't see Ireland very often on tour routes, to be honest. I often you see tours go to England, and then, you know, they take the underground, or they take the ferry, they take the ferry over from France, and then they go to London, and often they go back again and continue, you know, in mainland Europe. And it's a long tour, you know, to go all the way up to Ireland and then kind of back again. You cannot. It's hard to do like a circle there. I don't know how big the metal scene is in the various other big cities other than London, but.
So basically we have here Dublin and Belfast, but that's Northern Ireland. But the crowd here, if the big bands come, it would be something to see. Like there is a good interaction. Like the funny thing is in last year, Metallica did a tour with Ghost, and I don't know, some small bands. And then Ghost came to Dublin, and it was sold out in November when they went from support to headliner. So there was a lot of interest from the Dublin crowd, and they sold as well, I think, in Belfast. So there are a lot of interest here in Ireland, especially for that black doom, everything that's like extreme. So Invane would fit here nicely. I think maybe Limerick would do as well.
I'd love to play there. So
we have another town with Cork, which is not a town. It's quite big as well, and there is it's very heavy metal festival, not a heavy metal, but like extreme black metal, dark metal, something like that. And I can't remember the name of the festival now, but it was happening every summer before this thing came. But something to be looking for, definitely there.
Exactly. Let's bring that metal like the Norway one in vain. That will be something in shake here in Ireland everyone up.
Oh, we're good.
So do you guys have any crazy tour stories? Anything interesting happened on the way that you would like to share with us?
Not that I would like to share, no. No, I don't know. Do we have anything, Johnar?
You can tell a story about the cowboy man if you want.